Alrighty guys, OFD checking in here, new watch alert. So I picked up this Orient Kamasu just recently. Didn't do an unboxing of the watch, so sorry about that guys. I actually got it, wanted to put it on. So I've had this watch for just a few days and have really enjoyed some wrist time with it. The reference number on this one, I'll just show it here on the camera, are AA0005B. So it's this blacked out case. I think there's a PVD coated case on this watch with the gold or the gilt, whatever you want to call that. But I fell in love with this watch. I've got this thing about black watches with the gold on them and stuff. I think it really looks cool. But also, I've always wanted to try the Kamasu. So when I started getting really back into the watches about 10 years ago, Orient was one of those brands that kind of jumped out, and I really kind of fell in love with what they were doing out there. And over the years, I've owned a number of Orient watches. I still have a Mako II, which has the mineral crystal, the F69-22 movement, which this one has. I've also got one of the older Makos, or I think it's the Mako, or it's the Ray that I had modified by CG Watch Fam. That one has the alternate pusher up here at the top for the day and everything. But this is the newest, I think one of the newer ones. These now have sapphire crystals on them. Again, the F69-22, that's a 22 joule movement, 21,600 vibrations per hour, about 40 hours of power reserve. It is hacking and hand windable, date and day functionality, as you guys can see there. So really, really good movement in these watches. Very comparable, I think, to like a 4R36 movement from Seiko. It's interesting, though, I've done some reading on the movements, and one of the things that people brought up was that, the 4R36, the NH35 movements, they're out there all over the place in micro brand watches. And really, you're only going to find the Orient movements in Orient watches. They don't sell these movements to micro brands or anything like that. So that's kind of cool. So let's talk about the specs on this watch. You have a 41 millimeter case from side to side. So beautiful case sizing there. 46 north to south on the watch. Comes in at what I measured at 12.9 millimeters of thickness from the back of the case back to the top of this flat sapphire crystal, and you have 22 millimeter lug openings. Now, if you're not familiar, Orient is owned by Epsom Corporation, which is Seiko Epsom Corporation, so there is an affiliation with Seiko, but Seiko tends to, like they've done back in the old days with the Dani and the Sua, different brands, they tend to make them competitive. So Orient kind of stands alone and does its own thing out there. But they make absolutely beautiful, beautiful watches. Now, in the Kamasu, like I said, they've updated this with a sapphire crystal on it. I'm not sure if there's any AR coating being used in there, but with the black dial on there, it looks pretty good. The indices on this watch are all applied, as you guys can see there. You do get this date window with this frame around it, which looks really nice. The Orient logo up there at the top. Get a little closer so you guys can see that. Beautiful little logo from Orient there. Broad arrow for the arrow hands, and a nice sword hand for the minutes. Love the way these hands reach all the way out to the seconds track, as you can see for the second hand there, and also the hour hand. Make it very, very nice for time setting. But beautiful watches. One of the other things I've really noticed that Orient has done over the last few years is these straps. They're very nice straps. These are very comparable to the silicone Seiko straps you're seeing nowadays, and they really, really wear well. As a matter of fact, I thought when I got this watch that the first thing I was going to want to do is change out the strap, and that's just not the case. I love the strap on this watch, and I'll probably leave it on here. They are a little bit long. I have a 7-inch wrist, and I'll show you that when we put the watch on, but they fit really well. And there's a diver's watch, so it's meant to be worn, over a diver's wetsuit, so that helps there with that longer strap. Nice crown guards on the watch, as you guys can see there. The crown on the watch is signed with the Orient logo. Let's see if we can show that there. A little hard to see with the black there. And forgive my fingerprints here. Now, the case, even though it's PVD coated, you do have polishing along the side of the case. You have a nice polished chamfer here, and then brushing on the top of the lugs, as you can see. Take a quick look at the case back here, and you guys can see the Epsom logo, water resistance to 200 meters. Stainless steel, sapphire, crystal, Japan movement. These are cased in China. I did a video a number of years ago, guys, where I pulled the case back off my Mako II because I wanted to see what the movement looked like. And when I pulled that case back off, the case back actually had a sticker that said cased in China on it. Now, when I did that video, a lot of people they'll pop in there, make comments, who cares? It doesn't matter. And I don't care whatsoever. The only reason I made that video was back then, the word on the forums, everyone out there was talking about how everything that Orient did was 100% in-house. And so I assume that was with the casing of the watches also. Not so, and it's not a big deal because everyone does that, guys. I have a number of Seiko watches that say right on the back of them that they're cased in China or even made in China. So that's just the way it is, and I have no problem with that. So let's go ahead and pause it for a second, get this watch on my 7-inch wrist, and then stick around for the lume shot because as usual, with an Orient, it has really, really good lume. All right, so on my 7-inch wrist, it fits good. You can see it's a little bit long. Do have a little bit of a tail hanging out there from that strap. But again, it's a diver's watch, so that's meant to be there for your wetsuit. One thing I hadn't shown you guys is the 120 click bezel. If you guys listen there, you should be able to hear that action. Very smooth action, and really honestly reminds me more nowadays, I don't think I got that straight, more nowadays of the Seiko bezels. And I'm not sure if they're using some similar parts, but the bezel feels a lot like the Seiko. So I absolutely love this gold and black combination. I think it's a beautiful watch. The Kamasu is a great size. You're getting sapphire crystal. I got this watch for under $200. It was around $180, $185. I'll leave a link down below in the bottom from my Amazon where I picked this up. Very impressive timepiece, and honestly, if you're just starting to get into automatic watches and you want a high-quality watch, these Orients for under $200, you're getting a in-house automatic movement. You're getting very unique styling. This is a very unique Orient styling. You'll see this in all of their watches with the way the bezel's put together, the handset. You just get a whole lot of watch for the money, and it's a great way to get into automatic watches. And if you're looking at mechanical watches instead of quartz watches, the Orient lineup is a great way to go. So let's dim the lights and check out the lume. All right, so just by dimming the studio lights, you guys can see the watch has a nice glow already. You can see that that glow on the watch. It looks really good. So we'll go ahead and light it up. I've never had an Orient watch, honestly, that I've been disappointed in. The recent ones, the early versions, the early Makos and whatnot, their lume wasn't the greatest, but they've really upped their game on the lume, knowing that us watch freaks out there love a watch that glows all night long. Now, it does have smaller indices on this watch, so they will dull out a little bit, but I wore this watch to bed 2 nights in a row, and it's absolutely legible all night long. Those big hour and minute hands really work good, and your pip glows all night long. So very cool watch. This is the Orient Kamasu. This is the black and gold version here. And again, the reference number on this one, if you guys are interested, is the AA0005B. So check that one out if you guys like it. So like the video, give me a thumbs up down there at the bottom. And if you've not subscribed to the OFD channel yet, please do. Please do. Thanks, guys.